Welcome to PolyGon 2.0 tutorial series. In this video, we're going to take a closer look at how to perform data pre-processing in PolyGon using sparsing. In the last video, we saw how to use sparsing and filtering on pressure data. This video will explain how the same process can be applied to the rate data. I have opened a project with some fluid production rate data already uploaded. PolyGon provides a number of useful tools to process rate data. Let's make a copy of the test so we will have a backup, rename it, and start processing it. I will open the graph by clicking on the Gauges tab and selecting a graph. In our case, it's named Q1. First, let's go over how to shift the rate by a certain time period. Let's zoom in on a portion of the data. There is a button at the top bar called Move Rate. When you click it, the top part of the graph will become editable and you can drag the graph either left or right, affecting just that point. There is also a button next to the Move Rate called Split Transient, which allows to adjust the pressure value at a certain time period. Let's press it, and you should see the top part of the graph are now highlighted in yellow, and we can just click on the point that we need to split, and now the software will calculate the distance to the next data point and split the graph between that point and the one that you just clicked. Now let's click on the top part of that segment, and the table should appear on the right. And you see the segment that we're editing will start to blink. So let's change the liquid rate to, let's say, 215 barrels per day and press Enter. The changes that we just made will now be visible on the graph. The row can also be removed, and the transient will return to its initial value. Now let's go over how we can filter rate data. Let's start with wavelet filtering. Make sure it is selected as an active filtering method and press Calculate. The calc table will be created under Q1. We can input a custom value to smooth out the curve. To apply the result, we can press the Apply button, and now all the contents of the raw table will be overwritten by the values in the calc table. Now let's see how we can transform rate data. Let's make a copy of the original test so we will have a backup and rename it to Test 3. Now let's open well 1 and navigate to the rate data located in Q1. On the right pane we can scroll down to Transformations. And here let's multiply the table by 2. And then divide it by 2. We will now be able to see where the resulting values will be against the original data. Now, if we only wanted the transformation to be applied to a certain area of the graph, we can use the Set Workspace tool and select the desired area. Let's multiply the whole graph by 2. And press Calculate. Let's revert data back to the original by deleting the calc table. The second option in the transformation pane is the Q shifting, which allows to shift all data points by a certain unit of volume. So if we put 20 barrels per day and press Calculate, we see that the graph moved up accordingly. And the last option is the shift by a certain time period. So if we wanted to offset that portion of the graph by 100 hours, we will put 100, and now all the points will be shifted forwards. The last thing I wanted to cover is data sparsing. To sparse rate data, scroll down to the sparsing pane and let's set a value and press Calculate. This sets a constant rate throughout the whole time period. If you wanted to affect only a part of the data, then just like before, we can use Set Workspace tool. And let's press Calculate. There is also a time reset icon to the right, and if we press it, then it will set the mean value for all data points of that workspace area. The next three options of the sparsing pane are the conditional statements, which will only affect the points if the value is less to what is specified in those fields. The first one will average the rate if the rate difference between the adjacent points is less than 10 barrels per day. The second option will average the rate if the rate difference between the adjacent points is less than a certain time period. Let's put 100 hours and let's see the result. We will leave the third sparsing option for the next video. Now, instead of pressing Apply button, we can copy and paste rate data from one table to another. This sums up the basic information on how to pre-process rate data in PolyGon. I hope you found this video helpful. See you in the next PolyGon tutorial series.